Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call to order the March 16th, 2021 Subcommittee on Education and Instruction to order. Madam Secretary, please take the roll.
Representative Dixie. Representative Griffey.
Here.
Representative Harris.
Here.
Chairman Haston.
Here.
Representative Hicks.
Here.
Representative McKenzie.
Here.
Chairman Reagan.
Here.
Representative Warner.
Here.
Representative Weaver.
Here.
Chair Lady Moody.
Here.
Chairman Sapicki.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, everybody. Does anybody have any personal orders before we get into the calendar? Upon seeing none, if you will grab your calendars, I'll make all the announcements, and then we'll get to the bills. House Bill 1513 has been taken off notice by Representative Cochran. House Bill 1535 has been rolled 1 week by Chairman Weaver. House Bill 745 has been rolled 1 week by Chairman Haston. House Bill 472. Is that our roll because he's been held out? It'll be a committee roll, right? Okay. House Bill 472 by Chairman White and House Bill 755 by Chairman White are both rolled 1 week because he is at home. That'll be a committee roll, not his. Okay. With that being said, is there any objections to that? No objections. We're going to get into the calendar today. First up is House Bill 842. Representative Thompson, you are up. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you so much. My bill today regards apprenticeships. Apprenticeships are work-based learning programs in which industrial or industry professionals and educational institutions partner on a line on the job training with curriculum and instruction. Apprenticeship programs are unique in that they are work-based learning because the apprentice is paid. And most recently, about a little bit over a year ago now, the state of Tennessee unveiled Apprenticeship TN. This is a statewide initiative powered by the Tennessee Workforce Development System, and the goal of the initiative was to create awareness of apprenticeship opportunities for employer and worker in every area of Tennessee. The initiative created the Office of Apprenticeship with 3 regional directors to serve the state. And these apprenticeship experts work directly with employers, communities, associations, and organizations to develop and implement new programs. Now, what this bill does, it's essentially complements all of this by doing 3 things. One, requiring each public high school, including public charter high schools, to designate a teacher, a principal, or another employee to serve as an apprenticeship training program contact for the school. It requires the Department of Education to compile and publish to its website a directory of the name and contact information for the training program contact for each school, each public high school. And finally, requires the Department of Education to update the information yearly on September 1st of each year. Our office has spoken to the Department of Education, and they are deferred. And as the fiscal note shows, they believe they can do this within the current existing resources. The bill is passed by the Senate with no opposition, and the goal of the bill is to expand recent efforts of apprenticeship opportunities for students.
Committee members, you've heard the presentation on the bill. Representative Griffey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much, Representative, for bringing this legislation. I fully support it. Not everybody wants or needs to go to college necessarily. There's huge opportunities in America for folks that want to learn a trade and get out there and do that. And some of the best ways to learn things is to learn from an experienced craftsman who does that. And so I applaud your efforts to try to get apprenticeships going. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Thompson.
As a son of a Boilermaker, I fully agree with you.
Chairman Dixie, I'm sorry.
Again, I would like to echo what Representative Griffey said, and my wife would probably agree too, because she asked me to do so much stuff around the house, and I didn't have the opportunity to learn a lot of stuff with my hands. And so I wish I would have had an opportunity to learn more on how to work with my hands when I was in high school. So thank you again. Very great bill.
Chairman McKenzie. I'm sorry, Representative McKenzie. Gave you promotion there. Sorry about that.
I'll take that briefly, Liv promotion. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you again for bringing this piece of legislation. So my question is, was there a problem or issue with respect to with the workforce development team communicating with all schools, which is why now you kind of want a single point contact? Is that what the core of this? Was there a gap that this piece of legislation is filling?
To my understanding, they simply have not. That was not part of their mission at this point.
Thank you.
Chairman Reagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and perhaps I can help the sponsor out with that. Members of this committee that are new may not be aware of the fact that we did the middle college program, which allowed students in high school to graduate from high school with a associate's degree at the same time they got their high school diploma. We then expanded that to include the trades, TCATs, and so forth as far as programs are concerned there. We've had to add several things to it. There's a bill, I think, that's already passed. It may not be completely through yet, that adds workers' comp protection for these apprentices out of high school. And this mechanism that the sponsor has proposed is nothing more than continuing to expand this apprenticeship approach so that we have every high school, including those in rural areas that may not see the need right away, but nonetheless they have a contact point so that someone can reach out and help them. So I applaud the sponsor for bringing this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Members, any other comments? Question's being called. Any objection to the question? Seeing none. All in favor of sending House Bill 842 to full committee, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. You're off the full committee, Mr. Thompson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair and Committee.
Next up, Chair Lady Weaver, House Bill 1537. Have a motion and a second. Chair Lady Weaver, you are up. Amendment?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members.
Chair Lady, we have an amendment on the bill?
Yes, we do.
You have a
That's
motion
a
second?
number 4055.
Members, it's 4055 is the drafting code. We have a first and a second. Let's put this on the bill. Any objection to that? Upon seeing none, all in favor of adding drafting code 4055 to the bill, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Amendments on the bill. Chair Lady Weaver, give us an explanation, please.
Thank you so much. I feel that I need to give a little history to why we are here concerning our textbook commission to some of the members who have not been here for a while. But we, back in public awareness or input on textbook commission has been a factor since 2013. And I believe, I may be wrong on the year, but I think it was like 2015, that the Education Committee, we came together and decided we need a set of eyeballs and a commission that would be tasked to watching over what content gets before our children. And so we wanted a separate entity, an independent commission, to do that job. And so we put the committee, the General Assembly put together this commission. And so I guess no news is good news. We were walking on along and we're just thinking the commission is doing well, and we find out that the commission is actually very impaired. It's crippled. So we've been working on getting that refortified. Last year, if you remember, we passed legislation that would make the commission maintain independence from the Department of Education. We went ahead and put that in the law, and we added it to the section under 49-6-2201. I think that's the right number. It's in there somewhere. You can find it. The point is, what this bill seeks to do is to give our commission more muscle, to give them the independence they need to do the task that we, the Education Committee, has asked them to do. That's exactly what this bill will do. It will strengthen the statute I just mentioned. This amendment will do that, and basically mirrors what we did last year. And it makes sure that no department or outside force can interfere with the independence of the Textbook Commission. I, as a member of education, one of my main focuses is content. I believe wholeheartedly that if our children have quality content before them, they will excel, and we will be number one in our literacy program. It has to do with that. Now, we've dumped gazillions of millions of dollars, $10 billion into education since I have been here and served on the Education Committee. And I tell you, it's about the content. And if we don't get a hold of this, it's going to be detrimental to our numbers. So that's why I believe we need a strong, robust textbook commission. And we are getting ready to put another one in place Wednesday. I guess that's tomorrow. I will be bringing another individual for the committee to approve of. And we've got stellar people on this committee. And these people are honorary people. They're giving of their time to come with the same passion that most of you members have on this committee, and that's about the content and how these kids are what they're reading. And so we most definitely don't want them to come from all areas of our state, and we only give them lip service, and we only let them play the part. What this bill seeks to do, in the spirit of this bill, is to give them the muscle they need to do their job so that we can ask them as a committee on the textbooks that are reading, what's your spiel? What's your idea? What can you bring to us? So that's what the bill does. Again, this amendment would return the textbook reviews to a fair and independent process without interference of any agency or department, and it would get back to the original intent of why the commission was, why they came to be to begin with. And that's what the bill does, and so there you go.
Committee, you've heard the presentation. Representative Griffey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative, for bringing this legislation. I fully support it. Our children and teachers are not the problem with the state of our education,
Correct.
in my opinion, that we have today. Part of the problem, in my opinion, regarding education is that we've drifted apart from focusing on educating our children and have engaged in social engineering, social policies. And I'm going to firmly oppose that effort by anybody and everybody, and get back to letting our kids learn how to learn and supporting our teachers and our superintendents and our school districts. So thank you for bringing this legislation. I'm fully supportive. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Members, we have one person that wants to speak today. Without objection, I'm going to go out of session. Charlie Bufalino, Department of Education. If you'll give us your name and who you're with.
Charlie Bufalino, the Department of Education. Thank you, Chairman. First off, thanks to Chair Lady Weaver for bringing this piece of legislation. We're generally supportive of it, and we think that the clarifications are helpful to sort of put into code. There are two very minor logistical things that we had submitted to the sponsor, and I know this amendment sort of came late, that I would sort of qualify as sort of logistical, but I think it would improve the bill sort of further as it continues to move through the process. The first of which is when it talks in subsection G about the rubric and not sort of unduly influencing. I think the language could be tightened up further to make it clear that the department can speak to the commission at the commission's direction to explain the rubric, to answer questions about it. I think the intent is to not interfere in how they use the rubric to make decisions, which is something we would agree with, but tightening up that language to make sure that clarifying things could be addressed would be an improvement to make sure that the commission is fully armed to make those decisions and to do so independently. And then the second one has to do with subdivision G3, in the recruitment and selection of experts for the advisory review panel. So the role of the department historically here has been, given that the commission does not have staff, has been to cast a very wide net of Tennessee educators, resident experts, who the commission can then select from to serve on that review advisory panel. The way this language is currently written, I think it would prevent that from happening, which would create a logistical challenge for the commission. Again, if the intent is to make sure the department does not influence who they choose, that I think is what we sort of want to see accomplished here, and we're fine with that. But that's a very large group of folks that are presented for the commission to sort of choose from, and I do think that's an important role for the commission to have the department, given our context with teachers, educators, et cetera, to essentially give them a pool, get out of the way, and then sort of let them choose from that pool. So very minor sort of logistical things that we would sort of offer for consideration to the sponsor and the committee, and certainly happy to continue to work if this passes out today in getting those addressed ahead of the full committee, but did just want to bring those to the committee members' attention.
Members, do you have any questions for Mr. Bufalino, Department of Education? Seeing none, we'll go back into session.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Members, we are back on House Bill 1537 as amended. You've heard the testimony. Are there any questions for the bill sponsor? Question's been called. Is there objection to the question? Seeing none, we'll be voting on House Bill 1537 as amended to send this on to full education instruction. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? You're on the full committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members.
Members, that concludes our calendar for today. Thank you for your service to Tennessee. We will look to see you next week. Do not forget, last calendar is March 30th. Last calendar is March 30th. We're adjourned.
Mr. Chairman, I know this is late, but I just say you're doing a fantastic job.